Hey everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson Soapery. I'm just going to wait a little minute for a couple of you to pop on because a lot of you know that I am going to be doing a live today. So today I'm going to be talking all about soap and a few different things. So anyway, I'm just going to be 1 second and then I promise I will actually be on. All right, I am back, everyone. So I am actually just going to start talking because remember, I'm going to be saving this as well. And I'm sorry about my dodgy eye, but you wouldn't believe it. I actually used a commercial cream that was given to me and now my eye is absolutely terrible. So anyway, so I'm sorry about my sore eye, but like I said, I used a commercial face cream, which I usually don't. I usually get mine from a lady that I know that also makes soap. I can make it too, but I just don't. But anyway, that's particularly why my eye is a bit funny at the moment. But anyway, today I thought I'm going to be talking all about mostly the recipes in soap, because lots of people have asked me about, how do I calculate soap? How do I make things? How do I know what is right on soap calc and so on? And look, a bit of a disclaimer, I definitely do not know everything about soap calc or, calculating recipes, but I've done a little bit of homework for you. So hopefully this can actually help you, create your own recipes and so on. But, like I said, it's our Sunday chat. And usually what I do is I pre-record it and then I put it up. But I thought, every now and then I'll just do a live and see what you guys think. I don't mind either way because like you all know, you can all come back and watch this later. And I know if you're in the US in particular, it may be not a very good time. I can't remember I think it's going to be dinner time maybe in the US when this comes up. But anyway, let's get going. And like I said, I'll pop down a few little bits of information for you. So I'm going to look down because I have actually done a little bit of homework. So hopefully, like I said, I can sort of get all this organized. So now if any of you are using soap calc to organize your recipes, which that's what I do. I actually use soap calc. So now there's a few different things that you can do with soap calc that are really good. And I'm not going to go in the whole thing, but generally, just to give you an idea, when you go into it, basically it will come up as 38% at the top, when you're doing all of your recipes and everything else. And the 38% is of oil weight. So, and that's just a standard, but honestly, it's really high and it will give you lots and lots of water. So with water, of course, you get a bit more of a squishy soap. So I've got a couple like samples here that I've been doing. So this one here is my latest one I've been doing. And it is, I didn't do a big water discount. So it's a lot more squishy. Whereas this one has a massive water discount, which is more of a natural soap. Obviously, it's a honeybee one. And then this particular one is honestly hard already after a few days of just sitting on the rack. So that's a bit of a reason why you're going to do a water discount. And I know myself, when I started, I was so confused actually how to do a water discount because people talk about it, but they don't really tell you how to do it. And I thought, oh no. And for me, I was always thinking, well, you can't take the water out because then the lye's more concentrated. And I thought it was dangerous, but it's not. So, that's all a part of the evaporation process and how all that works. But anyway, like I said, I thought I'll just go through a few things. So 38% of your oil weight is what normally comes up at soap calc. But when I've looked at it, a lot of professional soap makers use anything from 31%. Sorry, I'm going to click this off. Use 31 to 33%. You can just go into soap calc and change that at the top. But I was watching Tree Marie and I absolutely love her videos. Like she's just so clever, and I like how she does the tricks and tips at the end as well to say things she thinks she could have improved on. And she was actually saying that she usually uses 25% So to me, that is huge, going from 38 to 25. It's more than 10 down. But she said sometimes she even goes as low as 21. And that will bring your water down and everything else. So then you don't have to try and figure out anything. But honestly, the water content is not important. The only rule of thumb that I think you should look at is if you have 200 grams of lye, you want to have 200 grams or more of water. So you want to have at least equal or more. But I don't ever go equal. I always go at least 10% over what the lye is with my water. But, you know, say the water says 500 grams, you can literally discount that half. You can discount a 50%, a 10%, 20%. There's no right or wrong. And the main thing that I always say is make your soap and then have a think about whether you like that soap or not, and do a few little batches of discount. So like I said, I've done this one at, you know, I think it was 45% discount, I think. And then this one, not much at all. And then this one, I did a tiny bit. Oh, that's all right, Christine. Grab your cuppa. That's fine. You can watch me whenever. So I will read out things as I go along, everyone. But don't feel bad if you're not here on time or whatever, because you can rewatch it. I will save it so that anyone can rewatch this. It's no problem at all. I just thought, look, sometimes it's good if we do a chat, because then you can ask me questions that you may not be able to ask straight away and you want the answer for on YouTube. I mean, I do try and get back to you guys as soon as I can. And look, I'm going to tell you something that you guys are going to think, how embarrassing. On your iPhone, it says how many hours you're on your iPhone a day. Mine says 7.5 hours a day. I mean, isn't that terrible? But it goes to show that I do everything business on my phone. I film this on my phone. I actually have an iPhone Pro Max that my husband bought me, and I pay that through the business. So through my business, that, you know, in the end of the tax, I do that. A 7.5, Christine. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, I was using, when I first started this, I was using iPhone 8. So when I first started filming. So you can make any of these videos. You don't need a fancy camera. I know a fancy camera, honestly, would probably make it look better. I watch also Jerica from Quench, and I do love her, and her filming is absolutely amazing. I mean, to me, it's like a TV show. It's not like a YouTube channel. She really, really is clever, but I'm not as good as her with cameras and all that, and they are very expensive. So anyway, that's why I just film on my iPhone. But the cameras on these iPhones are so amazing. So anyway, I'm getting off track now, but I just thought I'll pop that bit in. So yeah, so like I said, we've talked about, you know, cutting down your recipe with the water. One thing, this is one thing that is really controversial. A lot of people say, well, if you do a water discount, it cures faster, you can use it faster. That's actually not true. All the evidence that I've got and looked at, and even spoken to people that are chemists, they said, no, yes, the bar will be harder. Jerica's husband does the editing. See, yes, he's so clever. I knew it. You know, where's it? Kale, I think his name is. But I love watching them. And I watch lots of YouTubers too. Even though I'm a YouTuber, I still watch heaps. What was I saying? See, this is the thing. My brain just goes off, doesn't it? Oh, my goodness. Anyway, I'll remember that and I'll come back to what I was talking about. But anyway, so I always forget things. I start doing something, I'm like, oh, my goodness, what am I talking about, you know? But anyway, so, yeah, so when you're water discounting, oh, that's what we were talking about, it curing faster or not. So lots of people think it cures faster. But, yeah, everyone I've spoken to, and just different advice that I've had, even from manufacturers, they were actually saying, no, the bar will get harder. And that's the thing. People think, well, it's hard, so it's cured, but it's not. It still needs its 4 to 6 weeks. So don't send something out if it hasn't been curing for at least 4 weeks, because that's what all the chemists and everything is saying. It does need that cure time, no matter what additives or anything else that you put in it. So even though I'm doing a water discount, I'm still not going to let it go out of my store unless it's had at least 4 weeks sitting on the shelf. So, because to me, I would hate someone to get it and then, you know, if the department or health department says, well, hey, you know, why are you giving this out? It hasn't even cured 4 weeks. Then I've got no comeback. So at least that way I know I've done as much as I can, but it's a personal decision on anyone's business what they want to do. But for me, that's just what what I prefer to do. I guess you could always ask somebody not to use it, but then, you know, you're kind of lost that control, haven't you, when you sort of ask them not to do something. So anyway, but that's just my thing with it. So do give it the cure time anyway. And, you know, soap does need lye. I mean, I've heard lots of people say, well, I'm going to make soap without lye. You really can't. It needs lye. Even Soap Queen will tell you that. That is just a part of how it works. Hi, Ruthie. How you going, love? Yeah, so you do need lye in soap. The only thing where you don't need lye, New York. Hi, sweet. In Australia, it is, what is it, ladies? 11. I think it's about 11 o'clock in, just after 11 in Australia. And I'm in Melbourne, so it's like kind of an okay day today in Melbourne. But yeah, so do remember soap does need lye. The only thing is in Australia, if you're, you know, because when you sell soap, you need to be registered with the health department and everything and do all of that kind of side of it. And then at the end, you know, they'll ask you to confirm everything as well. In Australia, it is AM in the morning. So yeah, it's like a 11:15 in the morning, I think. Yeah, so like I said, you know, if you're registered and everything else, you need to do everything by the book. So that's kind of what I do. And, you know, I'm really passionate about just making sure that people understand. And that's why I've opened the Australian Soapery and Candle Conference. And it's more about getting suppliers, getting people, everyone else to explain to all of you, you know, how you do things. Like, when I first started, I thought, where do you go to actually find out all this information and how to do it? It's really hard. So anyway, that's why I've actually opened that up. So, which is March the 21st. If anyone wants to know about it, just go onto the website because I'm not going to talk about that too much. Oh, you love my channel? Thank you. Thanks so much. I always think I'm just a baby channel. And like most of you know, I used to say to my husband, oh, gee, if I get 50 people subscribing, I'll think I've hit the big time, you know. And then when I got over 1,000, I'm like, really? You know, who wants to watch an old lady? But anyway, they do. Oh, you can't wait for the conference? Yeah, me either. I mean, my fingers are so crossed with all this damn COVID that we're having. We're just having such an issue in Australia at the moment with it. But they're all telling me everywhere I go, they're saying, you know, the time everyone's vaccinated, whether you believe in vaccination or not, and I'm not telling anyone either way, but, you know, our government, that's the way it is. If you're not vaccinated, they're not going to let you into these things. That's just the way it is, whether we agree with it or not. I kind of think it's a little bit of blackmail, but, you know, oh, well, what can we do? We've got no options here. So for me, I'm vaccinated because I have no options. So, and, you know, look, I do believe in medical intervention. As a lot of you know, my dad has terminal cancer. So, you know, I really believe in all of that 100%. Yeah, bloody COVID, I know. But they reckon by December or January, everything's going to be open because they can't just keep businesses closed. We'll all go bankrupt. So they just can't. I mean, luckily for me, now my studio is on my property and all of that, so I don't have to worry. So, and any of you that are having a really, really hard time, the one thing I was going to say to you, I get lots of messages about people saying, I can't sell, my things aren't selling, what do I do? Please don't worry. We're in the worst time ever of selling. So honestly, like, please don't look at that as, oh my goodness, no one's buying my things. You're in a tough time to sell things. So anyway, that's something that I would just say, please don't stress about that. Just give it time. You know, honestly, business takes it really does take about 3 years before you are a successful business. I mean, my business is not where I want it to be either. You know, I'm always working at it all the time. And the ones that go, you know what, I'm sick of this, I've tried too hard and it's not working. Well, it's not going to work for them. But the ones that just keep plugging on, it will work for them. So, but it takes a lot of time, and I'm not going to say that it doesn't. So it's really hard work working for yourself. That's why, you know, working for someone else is easy. You get your paycheck and go home. But me, I'm too bossy. I don't want to work for someone else. But anyway, let's get into this, what we were talking about as well. So like I said, why would you do a water discount in soap? There's a couple reasons, actually. The main one for me is glycerine rivers. If I use heaps and heaps of water, I get them, and which I really, really hate. Oh, yeah, you see what I mean about launching your business. This is another lady. I'm just going to answer questions as we go along. Yeah, 100%. Having business is really tough. It's tough, tough, tough. So, I don't want to say to people it's not. When I first started, honestly, I'm going to be honest, it took me a long time to even sell a product, unless I was at the market. But when you're at markets, if they open in whatever place you're in, because I know a lot of places are closed, but customers come from there and then they get to like you. Then you've got to decide whether you want to do retail or wholesale. I did retail for a really long time, only selling off my site. But then I fast realized that if you keep doing that and just selling retail, you're knocking out a lot of clients that might have a shop that want to buy wholesale. But wholesale, once again, that's hard because you're only getting half the amount of money because you've got to give them 40 or 50% off to sell because they need to make money in their business and so on. So now I have decided to go down the wholesale, but I'll still keep my retail too. So I'll have both. But then that just helps a business. But I'm not going to be selling them one bar of soap. It'll be a massive mold. Like I'll show you these ones. So this is my new, if you can see how big it is, one that my husband's just made me. And I do have a video which will come out next week on that, on how to make it. But yeah, so that's why I've decided to go down that route. But we'll talk about that a bit, and do ask me a question if you have any questions on it. But yeah, like I said, the water discount, yeah, it is huge. It's almost a meter long. This one, I think it holds, I've got 4. So if I do 4 in one, I can make 100 bars in the 4 loaves that I've got. So, and just make it real fast, won't I? Just pour them all together, And that's what you got to do for wholesale. You got to make your own molds or do something big so that, it's no good making a little mold with eight bars. You're not going to make any money. It takes too long. But yeah, so the water discount will help with your glycerine rivers. It will give you a harder bar, and also it will minimize or almost disappear with your soda ash. And I just can't stand soda ash. So I made these little ones. These are my baby bars. And I don't know whether you can see, but there is soda ash on the top. It doesn't matter so much because they're white. But if this was like black, if it was like that one, well, then you would notice it a lot more. So the water discount eliminates that. And it's because the particles don't have time to move around. And when there's lots of water, well, they have time to move around. So that's, not that I'm a scientist, but that's kind of the way it all works as well. And the glycerin rivers too, it just has more time to move. And I'll show you one that I've got. Let me find it first. And I'll see if I can find the problem one that I have, which now I can't remember where I've actually put it. Oh, here we go. So this is my one. So if you can see the little glycerin rivers in this at the top, and that's because there was no water discount. But if I had a water discount, you wouldn't notice it and it would be smooth. So one side is smooth. The only reason that is because that was the end of the bar. But, that is the reason why water discounts are really, really good. So do a few reading. The people that I suggest to look up all about it is Tree Marie has done one all about, the benefits, and also I Dream of Soap, which is Lisa, and she's also done one all about the benefits. And those ladies definitely know more than me in regards to, soap and glycerin rivers and water discounts and so on. Kind of the frosting on candles, 100%. Frosting on candles drives me crazy as well, but coconut soy seems to do it less. So if you're a candle maker, I do have a couple candles here that I've been testing. So this one here is 100% soy black, and you can probably see just a tiny, tiny bit of frosting. And the reason I don't have lots of frosting on this one is I poured it at a really low temperature. If you're a candle maker, you need to pour it when it's low and cloudy, and that's when I pour mine. But I use the one I actually use is from Pure Candle Supplies in Australia, but it's 100% soy. It is very similar to 464, but a tiny bit differently. So, but that's 100% soy. And then this is my other one. These are just testers. So excuse the bad top because I haven't fixed it. And this is the one, the coconut soy. And you can see there's pretty much none on here. Just the top's not too beautiful, but that's all right. It's only a tester. But so yeah, definitely the coconut soy does not give us much if you're a candle maker. And that's the same thing. So whether it's frosting on a candle or soda ash on a soap. It's a very, very similar thing. It's all to do with the molecules, the particles, and how they've got time to move and all of those things. Temperature. I mean, there's just so much. So that's actually why. But yeah, just if you're a candle maker, Ruthie, make sure you do it at a really low temperature. And even now, I mean, I've been making candles. Like I said, my teacher taught me in grade 6. So how old would I have been there? 12. I'm almost 50. So, you know, a long time ago. And the things like that, only the last probably 10 years, people have actually been able to go onto YouTube and look and find these out where people like me kind of give away some tips. And I think it's actually really good to share these tips and try and help people because we're all in the same game. I mean, that's exactly why, like I said, I started the candle conference because people don't want to give things away. And then if they think that you know more than them or you have more customers, they get a bit upset. But, you know, don't feel like that. If you have an issue, talk to somebody about it first. And, you know, like sometimes I think we kind of get our back up and we get upset about something, but we don't really kind of get all the back information. So just talk to people if you feel that way or whatever. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and so, but, you know, like, I don't know. Anyway, it's just my opinion. I don't want to say anything more about it. But, you know, look, we're all in this game. And you know what? There's competition. This is life. I keep saying this all the time. There's such big competition. I mean, you look at places like Lush, so many thousands of people have tried to copy their idea, and it's because it works. That's why. But, you know, anyway, I'm getting off track, but that's something that I'm a bit passionate about because I think sometimes things get misunderstood and so on. But, you know, it is competition, you know. If someone's not happy with someone else, they're going to go somewhere else and vice versa. But, you know, even if they're happy with you, they might just want another opinion or a quote. So I don't care if my customers buy from me and someone else. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But anyway, like I said, you know, I think we all just need to try and be a bit nice and not be a Tracy. If any of you in other countries and maybe don't know, because my daughter told me only Australia call people Karens or Tracys. So in Australia, we say, you know, people that are 40 and, you know, cranky and are rude, then they often call them a Karen. But I call them a Tracy because that is one step above a Karen. So you'll often hear me say it. So don't be like that. Just forget it and move on, you know. But anyway, so like I said, so we're going to eliminate in soap, you know, the glycerin rivers and also harden your bar up and all of these things. The one thing to remember, though, is don't leave. Yeah, it is funny, isn't it? Don't leave when you're doing your soap, don't leave it in the mold for too many days because then it will crumble. And I've had that happen to me. It will crumble and you won't be able to cut it. So you do need to cut it within 20 hours if you do a really big water discount. Sometimes you can even cut it within 6 hours. So, but usually I say, look, 15 to 20 hours you can cut it. So water discount, that is super important to actually remember. And also one thing I wanted to, free market. Yeah, that's right. It is a free market to buy from whoever you want. So one thing to remember too is different oils will saponify differently. So a shea butter is going to be really different to cocoa butter and coconut oil. So that's something that you need to remember as well. When you're making your recipe, every oil has a different benefit and it will also have a different saponification level. So it's really important to kind of understand that. But I've done a list for anyone that's making soap or wants to make soap of things that I would say are probably, you know, things that you need to kind of think about as well, and oils that you might want to use that are super popular. So the popular oils, number one, the most controversial is palm oil. If you're going to use palm, please use certified palm. They do, you know, they do actually farm this, and there's a lot of laws around farming palm oil now. I do use palm oil in a lot of my soap, but I am going palm free, and it's for no reason. It's not that I don't agree with palm or anything. It's just literally so that my market opens up to many other people, especially doing wholesale. A lot of people don't want it. So in Australia, I'm talking other countries, they may not mind, but in Australia, it's often a thing people don't want. The same as here, especially in Melbourne where I sell, not all over Australia, but a lot of them don't want animal fats. So I don't use any animal fats or byproducts. But there are certain soaps like a goat's milk soap. Obviously, that's a byproduct. You know, a honey soap that has honey, that's a byproduct. But generally, my recipe doesn't have it. So it's something to think about, especially when you're opening a business or you want to make this be a really big business. For me, I have lots of really big dreams. So you need to kind of think of, okay, your target market, and you don't want to sort of squash somebody out of your market because you're putting an animal fat in that you know your market doesn't want, or vice versa. So that's really important to just think about your market first. But I'll tell you some oils that are super duper popular. So, and these are, you know, what I call standard must-have oils in your soap. So things like olive oil, most people, you got to have that. Shea butter is one that a lot of people have. Cocoa butter, coconut oil, castor oil, sweet almond oil. They are the main ones. But then you can go off those and get different ones. So you can put things like avocado oil, jojoba oil, apricot kernel oil. And the reason for adding those ones would be more if you were doing sort of like a luxury blend. So for me, my main recipe is usually unrefined shea butter. I put in pretty much all of mine. And the reason I put it in is I just think it makes a beautiful, creamy bar. When I first started, I used a couple recipes online from other suppliers that they gave just so I could try them out and learn a bit more about soap making a few years ago now. And look, the bars were great, but I did actually find that sometimes the bars were like, when you use them, it was really high cleansing. So I try and keep my cleansing 13 or less. I never really go over that at all. I don't think I actually have a bar that's over that, except for the first ones I first made. Were a little bit more high cleansing, but you soon realize that people don't like that because it gets that kind of itchy dry feeling afterwards, and high coconut oil can do that unless you super fat it. And super fat's just, you know, obviously adding more waters and things into it, and I don't understand the whole thing about super fat. I'm not going to pretend I do, but generally if you leave it at, you know, 3 to 5%, it gives some wiggle room for your soaps. So that's really the main reason. And I try and keep mine to 3 to 5 anyway. I've seen people use none, but it means that your bar needs to be perfect. So, and if you've done something wrong or there's an issue, then of course the super fat can kind of help you a little bit with that anyway. So like I said, that's kind of the main thing that I'm talking about. And if you're going to do wholesale, what's my personal favorite oil? My favorite oil that I use, shea butter, but olive oil, and I always use, I buy 20-litre drums of, what's the other one I buy? 20-litre drums of sweet almond oil. And I really love it. But when I do a face cream, I use apricot kernel oil because it's lighter and it's not as heavy. And the same as if I make bath bombs, I always put jojoba oil, sweet almond oil, and apricot kernel, because I don't do an alcohol bath bomb because a lot of customers don't like it. And I honestly wouldn't really want my kids bathing in oil, not oil, what's it called? You know what I'm talking about anyway. Like I said, I've lost my train of thought. But, you know, so yeah, so I always try and keep to more of an oil basis when I'm actually, you know, doing my bath bombs. And look, I don't have many failed bath bombs. I really don't. And mine are super hard. I've got my recipe on there for anyone doing bath bombs. Go back to any of my bath bomb recipes, and honestly, it is on there. So I do leave everything on there for all of my recipes, and you can use them. I don't mind if you use them, you know, copy my recipe and, you know, sell them. I don't mind. It's fine. I have no problem with people doing it. And that's why I always give the recipe, because when I started, the only one I really could find that gave it away was Katie from Royalty Soaps, gave her basic recipe away. But it didn't kind of work for me, that recipe. I wanted it changed a little bit and be more low cleansing. So that's why I changed it. But hers is a great one if you're first starting. because it has, you know, not heaps of oils, just a very basic amount. And I just think that's kind of a good one too. Oh, hemp oil. Yeah, I've heard of hemp oil. A lot of people use it. And yeah, it is very expensive. The same as avocado or macadamia oil I really like, but they're very, very expensive. And if you're going to do wholesale, you want a bar of soap like this. You want to be able to make this for under $2.50 because no one's going to pay you $7 wholesale for a bar of soap. They're not. They want it for $4. That's the one thing I've noticed. They definitely want it for maybe $4.50. But my idea is eventually I'll give away a secret here, but my goal is to have a shop where I sell wholesale logs, something different. Yeah, more of a luxury soap. That's right, Ruthie. Yeah, 100%. So for me, you know, that's my goal, is to have massive big wholesale logs so people don't have to wait, because in wholesale what happens is they usually order it and then they've got to wait for 4 weeks or however long it takes to cure before they get the soap, which is fair enough for people making it because sometimes it's hard. But I just want to have it so they can literally order it and go. That's it. So they can literally just take it off the shelf and go with it. So that's my idea of doing wholesale, and also I'd have retail in the store as well and a manufacturing. But anyway, that's a long way off. I'm not doing that for some time, but will definitely show you all my tips and tricks as I'm going along. And if any of you watch Soy and Shea, I've noticed that she has now got a shop in Queensland. So, you know, I really hope it's very successful for her. So, but, you know, she's marketed it well. It's close to the market where she is, and she has a really long standing in soap making, so people know her. So that's the thing too. Starting a business, you want people to know you, want them to find you, and you want to be getting a lot of sales online before you open up a store. So please don't rush out and open a store. It's really expensive, costs a lot of money, and that's the fastest way that people fail, is they have a store that costs thousands and thousands a month. And most of you know, I actually used to have a warehouse, and I loved my warehouse. I loved it, but honestly, it was thousands and thousands of dollars every month for a warehouse. And in Melbourne, we just kept being locked out. They wouldn't even let us in our own factories with COVID. So I was just like, that's it. I have to get out. And luckily for me, we had this studio on our property, and my husband set up all these racks. He actually designed them all. They're actually IKEA shelves, and then he just did the trim in the middle and then did a bulkhead so it looked like a Hamptons one at the edge as well. And then behind me, which you can't see, which often I do show it in videos, though, it has like thousands of molds, and I buy lots of things in bulk and things like that. But yeah, and if anyone is looking for a really, really good company, oh, so generous. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Christine. I'm going to see you at the conference. I'm so excited to see all you girls I speak to at the conference. So now, and the one thing I was going to say is, you know, you need to look at a few things that are really important. But I found a really, really good person that I've been talking to in Australia, and fingers crossed they may have something to do with my conference. That's a little sneak tip just in there as well. And they are the actual manufacturers and importers for beautiful shea butter that is ethically sourced, certified, animal and cruelty free. And it is the fair trade shea and cocoa butter. So if you want anything, go to them. That is called Deluxe. I will actually, after I save all this, I'll put it in the links as well. But and that's called Deluxe Shea Butter. So that company, and they're a big company in Australia. But yeah, if you're even in the US, make sure you're just trying to get things from like fair trade, and that way you know that it is women making these things, and that's how they support themselves and their community as well. And for me, that is really important for me to get products that are certified, make sure that they're animal, you know, there's no cruelty to animals or humans, because there are some products that children are making. So I'm a mum of 7, so I'm very passionate about trying to make sure we do everything the right way. Oh, thanks, Christine. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to reach my dream, you know. I'm sure I am, but it takes time. So that's what I'm saying to people, you know, and I get lots and lots of comments or personal messages saying, I'm going to give up, you know, I've been doing this for a year and I'm getting nowhere. I'm not getting sales. Well, you know, honestly, it doesn't happen in 5 seconds. It really doesn't. It's taken me years to get even to what I'm now. And I definitely don't, I'm not going to say that I sell thousands of dollars a week, because I do not. 100% I don't. But don't let that sort of, let that sort of discourage you, because that's the way it is. Lush opened up and they didn't get thousands of people at the start either. They didn't. They built their brand and people love that brand because they know them and they love them. Oh, hi, sweetheart, Yolanda. Hi, love. You love my channel. Thank you. All you girls are so amazing. And boys, I've got lots of guys that watch me too. So I have to give a shout out to the guys, because there's a few guys that make soap that do follow me, and candles as well. So I do try and give you guys some really good content so that you can actually learn and grow, because like I said, when I started, there wasn't any of this about, you know, learning, growing, being able to ask questions as well. And I think that's the thing. People often, I've noticed a lot of in my industry, I'm going to say my industry, people don't want to give out information. Yeah, that's right. You're right. Soy and Shea said 10 years to open her store. That's what I'm saying. Don't rush into it, guys. Please don't rush into it. I've seen many, many companies fail. And in Australia, they say the first 3 years is when you'll fail. So if you can make it past 3 years, they say you're doing all right. Yeah, a beauty store. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, things are really, really hard. So don't rush into it. And, you know, you want to have cash flow before you're in a store. And two, for me, like most of you know, I'm actually an interior designer. So I studied interior design, and that's why I had my store, my warehouse, because I used to have lots and lots of furniture because I staged homes as well. And then I had the soap and candle things. I actually had them online when I was doing that as well. So that was really lucky for me that I did have an online store. And then that kind of, so when I decided I'm not going to do design, I'm going to concentrate only on this, and then closed my warehouse and bought it back to a studio on my property. That way I just thought, you know, this way I don't have the cost of the warehouse. I don't have the cost of the electricity, the bills, everything, the staff, because I had 4 girls work for me as well. So that way I just didn't have all of that. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Ashley. Yeah, I know. I try and be helpful and informative because, you know, look, it is so important. And I think lots and lots of people, especially now in lockdown, they're thinking, how can I start a business? I've lost my job now. What can I do? And there's a lot of things you can do. But if you're also doing a business, the one thing to remember, don't go buying in bulk at the start because you can't afford it. And don't, you know, I mean, not going to tell everyone what to do, but please don't go and take a business loan to do this. Don't. I mean, look, we're going to be honest here. I mean, this is a bar of soap. Who's going to pay $6, $8, $10, depending what country you're in? In Australia, people want to pay $6 to $8 at the very most. But yeah, that's right. You do have to love your passion. If you don't, it won't work. And I'm seriously passionate about this industry. Hence why, like I said, I've opened the conference. In America, they have like a Soapers Guild. We have nothing in Australia. I was actually talking the other day, like I said, to Deluxe shea butter manufacturers, and they were actually saying they can't believe that there isn't one in Australia. They were always shocked. And I said, well, I've got to put my money up and do it. My profits have gone towards that to open it up because I've obviously had to prepay for the whole venue and everything for everyone to come. And people are buying tickets. So if you want to buy tickets and you're even in another country, you can actually buy virtual ones. And we're going to Zoom it virtual the whole time. I think it's like $69 Australian to do that. And you can be in the competition as well. There's lots of competition. I think we have $5,000 in prizes to give away as well in that. So that's super cool, isn't it? But yeah, and so like I was saying, people only want to pay a small amount. So you've got to work everything. People don't want to spend more than $7 or $8 on soap in America. Yeah, same here. Generally mine about $8 for this. But wholesale, honestly, they only want to spend $3.50, $4. So it might cost us $2.30. I reckon, honestly, this costs about $2.20 to make. if you buy in bulk, if you buy massive bulk, that's the lowest you can get down. I've even spoken to a big wholesale company that makes soap in Australia, and they said that it's about $2.20 if you're using ethically sourced and good products to do that. And then usually you would double that price to be wholesale. So, you know, then you're already up to $4.40. Honestly, people don't want to pay that wholesale. They want to pay $4. And then, of course, you're meant to triple that. So then that would mean this is $9 or $10. But it isn't going to happen. There are a few tricks I can give you if you want to actually sell. One thing I've noticed is some people in wholesale sell really well because they're only selling it for under $4. The reason they are is their bar is not as big as mine. So if you have these two bars, you can see the difference. One is much bigger. The black is much bigger. People say, well, I'm not going to pay $7 for that. I can get that for $5. They don't realize, well, they're getting more for this, aren't they? And they're getting less. But that doesn't enter their mind. All that enters their mind is, I don't want to pay $6 for this. For instance, say we're wholesale. They don't want to pay $5 for that. They'd rather pay $4 for that, even though it works out that this is cheaper because there's more volume. But that's what I'm saying. So if you're going to do wholesale in that, make your bars skinnier, make them a bit smaller, and then they'll do it because they have to make a profit as well. Like, all my bars are different. See, this is my new bar. Actually, this is the new size. So, you know, and then I had this one, which was a thinner bar. So if you can kind of like, let me show you, if you can kind of see there's that extra difference here. But then, you know, this one's lower. So my new molds that some of you may not have seen, which I was just showing before, I'll show it again. This is my new mold that my husband made. You can see it's very big. It's almost a meter long. I think it's 755 millimeters, I think. And each bar is like 2.5 wide. And then, of course, high. So like this one here is what goes into here. So if you can kind of see, that's where they're going to sit like that. Hi from Mexico. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Thank you for joining us in down under Australia, as they call us, you know. But I don't know whether we're really under everyone else. But anyway, that's what they call us here. And of course, we are, like I said, morning time here, like or maybe 11:30 now, or 11:40, because we've been on here for a little while. But, and it's so nice that so many of you have actually logged on, because I know I'm stealing your time from your day. You love that mold. Yeah, I know, it's cool, isn't it? I actually have a video, Yolanda, that's coming out tomorrow. And no, actually, no, I lie. It's not coming out tomorrow. It's coming out Wednesday. My husband and I filmed a whole video. My husband's name's Chris, and he actually designed these. He's an engineer. So I'm going to give you all the measurements and everything. And honestly, do you know what this is? Now, no laughing, girls. This is actually offcuts of some melamine benches I had. And then I had a shelving on one of my rooms, and I thought, look, I don't need that. So we took it off. I took off all the bits of metal and whatever that I had on the outside of it, which was just like something, and I used the scraps. So, yeah, that's right. Thank you, girls. And, yeah, so we use the scraps. So you can make this out of it, because, let me show you this other bit. So I have 4 of them, so I can make like 100 bars in one go. And then this one, you can see that I've actually, you know, done all the lining in, which I did a video on that. But one of the girls was saying Jerica has a really good video on, you know, on like actually doing this. And another one, another lady that I absolutely love, and she is huge. Hi, Mark, how you going? Hello. Yeah, and so if, you know, you watch that, and another one is called Ali Every Day. Oh, you love my channel? Thank you. Honestly, like I say all the time, I thought, geez, who's going to watch an old lady make soap? But, you know, clearly someone wants to watch an old lady make soap, because I think the other day it said on my channel that I've had 8,000 hours watched. So I thought, you know, how nice is that people take their time out of their day to watch little old me? I mean, you know, as I always say, I'm just a little mum from the outer suburbs in Melbourne. I don't live close to the city. We live in Gippsland, which is kind of like where all the cows and animals are, and they're grazing, and it's kind of a wetter, colder kind of area to Melbourne. But I was actually born in the city of Melbourne. I was born in Camberwell, which is kind of an upmarket kind of suburb, I guess, in Melbourne, you would say. But my parents are just average people, you know. They rented a house when I was very young. And then, of course, now, you know, I'm out further in the suburbs. So I travel from here. I travel 200 k's to take my dad back and forward to hospital because he lives part-time with me and part-time with my brother. So, yeah, so absolutely just crazy. But, yeah, so we live out further. And then, like I said, my goal was really to help everyone. I'm living from that background too. Oh, great. So, you know, for me, I always think, you know, we all kind of need to support each other. So, like I said, please don't look at another person as, you know, bad competition. It's good competition. It keeps us on our toes. You know, if I was to make this, yeah, my hubby's clever. I know, he's amazing. I mean, he is. But, you know, I said to him, I'm putting you to work. You are making these molds. Like, forget it. You're not getting dinner until you make the mold. So, I mean, how mean am I? But you'll actually see him. He is in the next video. He doesn't like to talk much. He's a typical businessman behind it. I know, you got to laugh, don't you? I mean, you just have to laugh. I mean, because, you know, life is too short to be too serious. Yeah. Oh, thank you. You appreciate that I'm down to earth. Thanks, Deb. Yeah, no, look, I do try and be down to earth. And I do look at everyone honestly. Like, let's be honest. This is like a friend group to me as well. This is not a competition group. This is not any of that. Because you know, oh, thank you from the US. Yeah, Australia is beautiful. If you go back on some of my videos, you'll actually see I do film the beach and stuff when I go to the beach. Yeah, and love recycling things. Yeah, exactly. So I said to, you know, look, I get lots of people that say, look, I don't have a lot of money. How can I actually start? Yeah, that's right. You got to say, you know, but as I say in my video, it doesn't matter whether your husband, wife, whatever, you can make this, you know. Yeah, I ship to America. Of course I do. Yeah, we ship everything to America. And my dream is to go there because my grandfather's family came from Chicago originally, long time ago, when we've just done like family history, and my dad's father's family, not my grandpa, he was born here, but their family actually came from Chicago. So, you know, it would have been a long time ago now because they've been here for, oh, I don't know, 150 plus years in Australia. But yeah, so we all have roots from somewhere else, don't we? You know, like, I mean, I say that all the time, you know, like my husband's family are Jewish. So, yeah. Oh, you're in Chicago. Hi. Yeah, no, I'm desperate to go there. I keep saying I'm going to go there. And my absolute dream is to see the Grand Canyon. That's my dream. Watching an old lady is my favorite. Yeah. I know, it's funny, isn't it? And laugh, you know, guys, please, because life is too short at the moment. And honestly, I said to my dad the other week, because my dad is so darling, you know, I said to him, you want to be my video, Dad? And he says, oh, no, look, I look so sick and old. So I was like, oh, my God. How big is that mold internally? Oh, hold on. I've actually got it for you guys. I can tell you the measurements. So the small one I started with my mold was 45 centimeters long. But then I thought, you know, so this one here is going to hold either 24 or 25 slices, like little bars, which is like this size. And each bar is 2.5 wide. But if you want to make it like 2.3, I'm talking centimeters too, because in Australia we go centimeters. But if you want to make it smaller or just under an inch even for the US people, then you'll be able to fit 25 in this. So it's 700, sorry, we'll say centimeters. So it's 75 centimeters in length. So that's the internal. So from one side to the other is 75 centimeters. And what's my other measurement? It's 10 centimeters tall, but like you seen, this bit comes out. So it's really probably 9 centimeters in height. And what's my other one? I've got to remember now. And 7 centimeters wide. So from this side to this side is 7 centimeters. That's the internal depth of this mold. So if you're going to make this one, like I said, so if we go in centimeters, it's 75 centimeters long. Then the width that you want to go is 7 centimeters internally. And then the height that you're going to go up, because you need to know that for your ends of your mold, then that's about 10 centimeters. But You can make it 9. 9 would be average, but I just wanted mine to be a little bit taller. So that's why I've gone for this taller mold. And, you know, all this is a box. If you want to put clasps and things on, that's a lot more work. And I do have some with clasps, but these ones I said to my husband, just make it a standard box so you can make me more. And then, like I said, if like this one here, so this just has, you know, the paper on the inside, and it's just baking paper, or you can use a wax-proof paper or whatever. And then you just pour it in there. And then the good thing is you just pull up the side. So if I'll just open this to show you. And then this is what you do. You just literally pull up this, and you could just pull it straight back out of the mold. And that way it makes it easy. So you can see there the screws at the bottom, just joining it together. And then that is the end, just joining it. So it's nothing fancy. And then what I did is just put some clear packing tape. So I'll show you the other one. If you want to draw the lines so that you'll know if you're making fancy soap, see, like this one's got the lines on. And then you can see I've just got tape, clear tape over the top. And this actual clear tape, so if you get any like, so I've drawn on it with permanent texture on the wood, then gone over the top with the tape. So if you get any soap, you can just wipe it straight off. So that kind of makes that waterproof, because this has like a chipboard. So obviously you don't want to put water in that because it would swell the wood. But you can use pine. I mean, there's so many other things. But like I said, I had this, my husband and I had some offcuts of this laminate sitting around. So we just thought we'll just use what we've got as well. Oh, you love to laugh with me too. Thanks, Christine. I know. I know. We all need a bit of a laugh, don't we? I mean, seriously. But yeah, so like I said, if you want to make those molds, you can definitely do those, or you can make a smaller one. So I do have, you know, like the normal, I guess the standard size you kind of see is, you know, maybe this big, and it has like the silicone on the inside. They're like $15 or something. You can buy them from Amazon. Those ones I used when I started, and they're fine. But as you get along, you just know that you need to make more. So this mold my husband made is probably 3 to 4 of those long. So what would it be? 8, 6, it's probably 3.5 of those long. So yeah, so I actually think it will be good. And like I said, you know, I'm going to go down the wholesale avenue as well. So we'll see how that works. I mean, you know, you got to get all your wholesale clients and all of that as well. But, you know, you just keep pushing and showing. And, oh, I've got something really fun to tell you as well. I just thought about it. I've finally, after all these years, stopped being a cheapskate, and I've actually ordered some papers from No Issue. And it's a tissue paper, you know, with my brand on it. So I'm really excited. How much soap butter? Oh, my husband worked it out. Let me tell you what it's going to be. Oh, I've got to look at my form now. My last one was holding almost 2 kilos. Oh, this one is 3.2 kilos. We've worked out. So 3.250 in grams. So if you're doing grams, 3.250. Yeah. And then that will, like I said, that's going to give me this height. So you could probably do it for like maybe 3.1 kilos if you didn't have as much height, like to be flat. I think that's probably what this one would do. But I am going to do a bit of a tester, and I will film it. I'll just do one first, because what I do is when I make a new mold, I usually, you know, you calculate it roughly, and then I do the mold, because oil has less volume than water. So then that's really hard to figure out. Even though, look, you can do it. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Oh, that's fine. So usually what you can do is you can measure, you can say your length times your width times the height, and that will give you the volume of the container. But remember, volume doesn't equal grams or ounces. It doesn't equal that. There is a difference, and the difference can be quite high. So, but from what I've calculated from the other one I've had, and then to calculate this, I think it should be roughly 3.2 in kilos. So hopefully that helps if you're making this particular one. But like I said, the full video will be out on Wednesday, and we do actually show you how we measured it, how we cut it. We are using an electric saw, but you can use, you know, even if you go to your hardware store, you can tell them the measurements to cut the wood, and they'll cut it for you. So if you don't have a saw or something, just, you know, we'll give you the full measurements and everything, and just go down and say, look, can you cut it to this and this? And then literally all you got to do is screw it together. or nail it together, however, because like I said, it doesn't matter how beautiful it is on the inside because you're lining it. We're going to line it with like a parchment paper, or as we call it in Australia, it's just a grease-proof paper. And for anyone in Australia, don't go using the no-name one, which is the cheaper brand, for anyone that doesn't know, because I've tried it. Honestly, it leaks through it. So don't buy the cheap one. I bought the cheap no-name, I don't know what it is, black and white brand or whatever they call it. It does not work. Oh, hi, sweet. How are you? Hello. Thank you for joining. I think we've had lots of people joining because we've been on here almost an hour, so I won't hold you more than an hour. I think we've got about 5 more minutes, and I thought I'll show you. So I'm going to grab the paper, and I'll show you the difference. I'll be 1 second. So this is the paper that I'm using to line the mold as well. And I did do a video on showing you how I did it. And can I tell you, when I actually started lining the mold, I used the cheaper one, and honestly it was garbage. The liquid went everywhere. I made a baby soap and it just went absolutely everywhere. So I was, from Massachusetts. Hi, sweet, how are you? Welcome to my little baby channel. And even this channel, seriously, I can't believe how it's grown. I mean, I think I was monetized maybe 2 months ago. Still haven't been paid, I'll be honest, from YouTube, but who cares? I actually don't care. Honestly, I do it for free. I quite enjoy it, so I don't care if they pay me or not. I really don't care less. But, I mean, I know a lot of people that are on YouTube do it as a business, so, yeah. Oh, thank you. You love my videos. I know, do you know what? Some of my videos, I'm actually shocked that they've had 5,000 plus views. And I think one I did on my warehouse or something had that. And I was really shocked when I seen that, how many views. I'm like, really? But yeah, anyway, like I said, I just thought that is unbelievable that so many people, want to watch me and want to see what I have to do. And, and you're becoming on my little journey, and I hope my journey is going to help you on your journey, because that's why I do give away recipes and secrets. Because the one thing I notice is there's lots and lots of soapers and candle makers, but they don't usually tell you their secrets. Like, they don't tell you what they're putting in their product. They don't tell you the additives to help, and things like that. I think they're just little things that, that I've noticed. Like I started mixing. Why did I leave my warehouse? It was too expensive. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. And also, well, that wasn't the main reason. The main reason, because of COVID. And in COVID, what actually happened was in Australia, in Melbourne, if any of you don't know, has been the most locked down city in the world. It's actually official. We are the most locked down in the world. Last year, we were locked down 8 months out of 12. And when I say locked down, it meant you weren't even allowed to go to your warehouse to work. They wouldn't even let you in because we weren't considered an essential worker. Only people like ambulance, police, food drivers and things like that were allowed. So I wasn't even allowed in my warehouse. So I had to stay home. I couldn't do any work. I was loading up my van full of stuff to bring home. Yeah, wow, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. And so I had to pay rent the whole time. I was paying $4,000 a month in rent, and that's Australian dollars. So America, it's more. So it was a lot of money. 4,000 to 5,000 average, and I had a small warehouse. It wasn't massive. It was. Look, it's still big. I mean, I don't know what it was. I'm going to say maybe 18 meters by 25 meters, maybe. And they had an office in the front and a showroom, and then at the back. I'm making a rainbow soap. Yeah, I make heaps of rainbow soaps. I've got to get to that. I haven't done it for ages. I'm going to be doing a unicorn rainbow soap with gardenia and tropical is going to be the scent in it. I've been thinking about that for a while, which will go back with my unicorn candle, but I've sold out of the unicorn candles. So I definitely have to do those. But because we haven't had many markets, I thought, oh gosh, I've got thousands of products. Like you can see behind me, I have so many, thousands. And usually I do them, a lot of these I do for the videos that you guys watch. But of course I need to sell them so they're not just sitting on the shelf. But there's been no markets. The last 2.5 months in Melbourne, the markets have all been closed down. So other parts of Australia, Queensland and that, have been able to do their markets, but not in Melbourne. So yeah, so any of you that wanted to know why I don't have the warehouse, that's why. Just literally been locked out. I couldn't even do my job. I couldn't even make products to sell because all my stuff was at the warehouse. And what we actually had was we had massive, massive borders. So I live in Gippsland, which wasn't as bad. Can candles and soap go bad? Yeah, look, soap can get DOS, and that's just, you know, usually it's the oil gets old. So, I mean, you can have soap that's fine to use, but it's not what we would call aesthetically pleasing. So, you know, it might have tiny little dot. I don't think I actually have any, to be honest, because most of it does sell, but soap can last for 10, 20 years. But sometimes when the oil goes rancid, which is meaning it's old, that can actually happen. How are my online sales going? Look, the last month has been very, very slow for me. Really, really slow online. But before that, look, some months I would get, say, some weeks I would get, you know, I'm going to say $500 in sales. Some weeks I would get $16 in sales. So it's never the same. It's never the same, honestly. So yeah, it's really different. But when I do a market, I sell $800 to $1,000 a market. So that will give you an idea. The thing you've got to remember about online, they've got a number one find you out of all the thousands of people. Yeah, up and down all the time. So number one, they've got to find you out of thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of soap makers. So number one, they've got to find you. Then they've got to find your product. Then they have to think your website's good enough for them to stay on. So that's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of things like that that are really, really tricky to get people to your site. But once they're at your site, once they like you, once its navigation is easy, then they can buy it. But the last month, I actually had a really lovely customer message me and said it kept saying no delivery in Sydney. And I thought, no, we deliver all over the world. But that's what actually happened. I accidentally pushed a button on my Shopify and it said no delivery. So I thought, God, I can't believe I've done that. But anyway, that's why I think my sales weren't very good this month. But, you know, I'm thinking they're definitely going to be better soon because, like I said, I'm going to be doing wholesale and I'm going to be also doing my normal retail and then one day in a shop. But, you know, look, I always think I'm a really... Like, even though I come across on here confident, I am quite generally a loner. I'm a bit of a shyer sort of person generally in social situations. So I don't like to go to shops and say, hey, you know, do you want to buy my stuff? But honestly, if you want to be successful, you do have to do that, which I have been doing. So you do have to even send them an email, even send them one soap with a price list. You know, in a little document you've made to say, hey, this is what I do. You know, if you see something that's like a shop or a beauty shop, even if they have other people's soaps or bath bombs, don't worry about that. Just message them. They might like yours more. They might need another supplier. Just say, hey, and that's business. That is not being mean. You know, look, I've had plenty of businesses contact people that I sell to as well that have gone, hey, I can do better. So, yeah. Extremely lucky to be here in Queensland. You are, but I've heard your Queensland has got a few cases now. So fingers crossed for you guys in Queensland. In Australia at the moment, well, in Melbourne, we have 450 cases a day. But for people in America, you might laugh at that, but I'm going to tell you, American people, you know what is funny? In Australia, even in Melbourne, if we have 10 cases, they lock down the whole state. We're in lockdown. They don't let us out. No. So, and we wear masks. We cannot go anywhere in Melbourne without a mask. We have to sign in different venues. Even going to your shopping centre, you've got to sign in, everything. Yep. Any cases, they close us down. And that's businesses. Many businesses are bankrupt in Australia. Many, many. Especially you go around and you'll see them all closed. Yep. See them all closed, bankrupt. And if you even try and be sneaky and let people into your venue, they will come and you get a $5,000 fine per person. No rules in Florida. Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know. But see, that's Australia keeps saying we don't want to be big cases like America or the UK or India. That I think that's why they're a bit scared. They're sort of, yeah, a bit worried about being like those, you know, big kind of cases. Yeah. Yeah, you wear masks in New York. Well, in Australia, even I'm in Gippsland. Now, we've had no cases of COVID. Absolutely not even one. None where I live. But still, we have to wear a mask. Now we have been let out of lockdown because I'm what they call regional. So out in the bush further. We wear masks everywhere, even walking. Even walking on the street, away from the shops, away from people, like walking on a track, you're still meant to wear a mask. It's only if you're jogging, you don't have to. So, but you know, I'm past jogging, believe me. You know, yeah. Oh, you're only one that wears a mask. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, if somebody in Australia doesn't wear a mask, like where we are, people are like, they'll give you the death stare, like, where's your mask? And people start, you know, questioning, why haven't you got a mask? Even in like casinos and things like that. All the casinos, pokey venues, gambling, all closed. You can't go into any of them. For anyone that, I mean, I'm not a big gambler, but for anyone that goes into those places, no, they're even closed. So you can imagine how they'd be jumping up and down because they're not getting any money. So, yeah, anyway, but that's a bit about Australia. So hopefully I've given you a little bit of an insight about, like I said, what we're making on here. So what we've actually, you know, like making, doing your oils, things like that. I've given you a bit of COVID talk as well. And all of us are friends here. So we've all had a lovely chat. So I hope you have enjoyed my live. And I think it's good too, because it's given you a chance to ask me questions and to comment like we were friends in the same room. So yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. It's hard, isn't it, with the masks? I'm actually really worried, about the world, like how we're changing, like how we're really, I mean, 100 years ago, they had the Spanish flu. And I mean, similar thing, you look back, they're wearing the mask, exactly the same thing. So it obviously works. Yeah, you have a good day too, sweet. Thank you so much for joining. I really do appreciate all of my Aussie people and my American people, some from Mexico. I've got people in Canada, New Zealand, Korea, I mean, everywhere. So I'm so grateful that our little world, you know, our big world can join us all together, isn't it? 10 p.m. Oh, thank you. So you're going non-eyes now. You know, I'm about to go in and make my kids some lunch, even though they're teenagers. Of course, yeah. Oh, thank you, everyone. All right, well, I'll save it so you can watch it back if you want to hear my annoying, scratchy voice again later on. But otherwise, I will see you on my Wednesday video. And like I said, if you guys want to look into my conference that we're doing in Australia, which you can be virtual from any country, just go over there, which is called the Australian Soapery and Candle Conference.com, and let me know what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts on that as well. Thanks so much, love. All right, bye. See you next time.